You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, you're always looking for and finding the good. You found good and abundance because you have consciously and conscientiously tuned into the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And today, you are going to be feted with a great treat. You're going to meet Valerie, and it's just so wonderful and uplifting, and we're just going to have a free-ranging discussion, but we'll be focusing on freedom. That's the theme of today. So get ready, and thank you for tuning in. And as we say, the reason you tuned in is because you care the most, the entire world, about you. And that's great, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And who doesn't want that? So you know that on this show, The Joy of Living, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Now, the first fundamental, of course, is life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. In this case, a good number two, you go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. Lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, right now, about 427,800 people around the world are listening and watching this podcast. And that's wonderful, right? All around the world. And they're doing it over the internet. Now, if you ask anybody, what does WWW stand for? Invariably, it has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what is the word, right? WHATA. And of course, a tip of the hat and a great thank you to Satchmo, Louis Armstrong, for enabling that song, What a Wonderful World, to go viral and not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. Whenever you hear the opening bars of What a Wonderful World, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you can ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile is an acronym that stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Hello, seeing miracles in life every day. So let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And that evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed, my neck down. It's called being a quadriplegic. It was not the result of an automobile accident. It wasn't the result of a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which you never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me quadriplegic. Now, I tell this story to people when I do the webinars and in person. Recently, I spoke to a group of 1,127 people, and I'm talking about the story. I'm talking about seeing miracles in life every day. And some people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been out for hours already. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Do you have water to drink? You have food to eat, you have a place to sleep, you have family, you have friends. Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Every single one of those is a miracle. And the simple proof is, guess what? 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, you didn't. You're watching, you're listening. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full. So here I am, standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty. In the evening, totally paralyzed. 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't move. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself. Can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. All because of that one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you, my 80-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She said, because that would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world that she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking. We're going to be discussing that with amazing Valerie, because that's really what it's about. It's called a shift in perspective. Now, I've been working with people for more than 4.5 decades, and I can tell you, when people first come to me talking about high achievers, they drop the F in shift, and the other stuff happens. You got to be careful with your Fs. You want to shift your perspective just a little bit, and then you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And these are: choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine your path in life and your trajectory. Now, before we bring on wonderful Valerie, and for the new people in the audience, and thank you so much, I urge everybody always to share this with 5 people. So we'll touch 2+ million people around the world. You want to share with 50 or 100, that's up to you. We love it. Give it a high rating and tell people about it. I urge you to share with 5, and we're growing. So we'll have more than 500,000 people listening within the next month or 2, and then go into the million, okay? Here's what we want to do. I urge people to understand we do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it for the shock value, and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, play, gift, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, some purists out there say, hey, Barry Shore. Fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, you have a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your face. Remember, that stands for point your finger, say, F-U, everybody. Remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. So where'd you get that? I said, listen to Barry Shore, and he wants to teach the world to F-U. And then you got their attention. Now you can speak to them all about the wonderful insights that you're going to be hearing from Valerie in just a little bit. So before we bring her on, I just want to urge everybody to learn to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, for now and the rest of your life, because you'll be happier and healthier and wealthier. And these are thank you, thank you, thank you. 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. To harmonize and nurture kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that inspires noble deeds that I want to share with you more than wonderful, amazing Valerie Durham. Valerie, please say hello to 431,890 people around the world.
Hello. That will take a long time. So hello, everyone. So happy to be here with you, Barry. And I was already taking notes.
Well, if the people who are not just listening but are watching, getting an extra treat, because you don't have me. You get nice long hair and a beautiful visage and a great smile, and she is internally, externally. It's just a pleasure and delight to know you, Valerie. And we're going to have just a wonderful discussion today because you are a unique being in many ways. Everybody, of course, is unique. You have a special uniqueness. What is it? You come from a family that has been deeply marinated and immersed in the processes we call freedom and liberty. You were raised that way. Your father is a very famous person named Mark Skousen. People can look it up. It's in the show notes. I urge everybody, I'm taking notes, just listen and go to the show notes. Everything you want to learn about Valerie and what she does and how she does it is going to be there. Just lean in and listen, let it flow. So you've been raised in this atmosphere of freedom and liberty, and you've used it to great benefit for other people. And you also do it in your own personal life with your dancing and things like that. But I want to start with, we can, because this particular podcast is carried throughout the world with people all over. Just as a small tidbit, we had just found out we're number 43 of all podcasts in Singapore.
Wow.
And Singapore is a bastion of
Beautiful.
Freedom and greatness. So be number 43 in Singapore. Thank you, Singaporeans. We love you. So let's just dive right in and begin about the idea of freedom, which is, I think, an American process more than any other place in the world. And we're lighting up the world with it. Obviously, it's a struggle, because when light comes in, darkness flees, and darkness doesn't want to flee.
No.
Let's start with a great note that you've made to me and you want to talk about, which is freedom, which means work that makes a difference. The ability to be free enough, live in a place where you can do work that makes a difference. By the way, that means you're a mad person because you make a difference. So I give the floor to you, wonderful Valerie.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a large, meaty topic to jump into. But I think that there is something to the idea of freedom providing a platform for greatness, because it allows you to tap into that individuality, that purpose of each individual. And what you have when you have maybe a top-down effect where government or a dictator or a king or some authority figure is coming down and saying, this is how things are going to be, which is a lack of freedom for the individual. It only has one person's idea of what purpose can be. And so you lose out on all of the opportunities that each individual brings into this world upon birth, of their own way of thinking, their own unique circumstances that bring them into a particular state, and their own set of talents that then propel them to take on some sort of ambition and the ability to make a difference there. And so that is why freedom is so important, because it actually breaks us free of the domination of only one person's view of what their purpose is and forcing that on the rest of us. And coercion and force is never productive, honestly. Coercion and force always means that there has been a failure in collaboration and cooperation and generosity and compassion and all of our virtues. It is a failure of society when we must be coerced by a government program. And so it is up to us as individuals to find our purpose, to take action, and to work together in voluntary and collaborative ways, and to find resolutions for our own disagreements wherever possible. Now, the places where it's not possible, that's why it's fantastic to have a very vigorous and appropriate judicial system, for example. You need rule of law. You need the basics of understanding how society operates to allow maximal freedom. You can't, I'm not someone who believes we can all just be stateless and no laws and anything like that. We need that. But the understanding that every time a law is passed, it indicates a failure of us as people to generate a civil and kind society. So
let me unpack a few things at the moment, because first of all, this is people around the world. I urge you again, don't take notes, just lean in and avail yourself of the opportunity that this is recorded, and you can listen the second time with your pen and paper or whatever you want, and you can pause and such like that, but just let this flow for the moment. I want to unpack a few things that you've mentioned here, because these are gems. One is, again, repeat what you said. Coercion never works, cannot work, and shows a failure in the society. That's one that you said. The second thing is that you mentioned about two A words. One is ambition, and the other is action. In a freedom-oriented society, people can have ambitions. They can even think of something of, well, this hasn't been done before. Okay, so therefore what? Maybe I can do that. The key, though, is action. And if there are too many regulations and constrictions and too big government, as you said so eloquently, it's a failure in society. The ability for the individual to act, again, we're talking about positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant things. We're not talking about negativity. Then that expands the society for everyone. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to unpack that for people around the world. This is genius on display. So please, let's continue.
Well, and the thing that is so important is I think that capitalism and free markets and freedom in general, because there is the opportunity for choice, you have to be able to choose between things, which have to include the negative things. Those have to be on the table in order for choice to be real and valid. And so what you have to realize, though, is that freedom has gotten a bad rap because they think that automatically, because those negative choices exist, that is what freedom is all about. And that the automatic choices to choose greed, to choose some sort of vice, slothfulness, to choose addiction, to choose gambling, to choose prostitution, to choose cheating, to choose dishonesty. And while those must be on the table for us to be able to choose, otherwise there is no freedom. The truth is that free markets and capitalism work best and actually draw us towards more personal virtue. And the issue of personal virtue has been greatly lost in our dialogue. But the truth is that when we make I don't know all the P's yet. I have to memorize all the P's. Can you say them again for me?
Positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant.
Okay. So when we make those kinds of choices, that is how we elevate ourselves and society. It is always, even if it seems to feel good, it is always to the detriment of yourself, your business, and the society at large to make negative choices. In the short term, you might get away with it, but in the long term, it never works. And my personal opinion is that, for example, poverty. All poverty exists because of a poor personal choice at some level in the chain. Now, it might be a direct personal choice. It might be that somebody chooses to go out and party one night. They drink, they're hungover, they end up not going to work. That is a poor personal choice that leads to a loss of income that might lead to a sense of poverty. But it can also happen at a higher level. A business leader who makes a poor personal choice to not pay their employees sufficiently that they make enough money. That is a poor personal choice that leads to poverty. We also have government officials who put government programs into place, or maybe succumb to the will of a lobbying group for their own personal gain, a sense of greed. They make a poor personal choice that results in a government program that perpetuates inflation or a lack of work growth in the workspace, things of that nature. We see that over and over again. So poverty is the result of poor and incorrect and frankly immoral personal choices at some level in the chain.
So, for those of you listening around the world, there's a remarkable author from, I think, the 18th century, John Stuart Mill. And he wrote a famous essay, amongst many others, called On Liberty. And what you just heard from Valerie, you don't have to read John Stuart Mill. You just gained knowledge of what liberty and freedom is about and how poverty does not have to exist.
That is correct.
And as she said, personal virtue, the ability for free will to exist in the world is the direct result of what we call God, the creator and such.
Mhm.
And therefore, you're right. Poor choices must be on the table
They
for virtue to reign supreme. And when someone chooses personal virtue, that doesn't just affect the individual, that ripples throughout society. And it brings benefit to everybody. And then the C word becomes a positive. Capitalism is unconscious or conscientious capitalism becomes the engine, the channel of benefit for the world. I, Valerie, I know I've said it. I told you before, I love you. This is just remarkably. We're going to do something right now because people love our show and we have sponsors, and we wouldn't have these sponsors if we don't vet them and think that they're worthy of your time and attention. So we're going to be right back with more Valerie. You don't even think of going away. This is just remarkable. And there's more greatness on the other side. Be right back after this brief message. Water, wonderful, clean, clear, fresh water. I make it a point to have good habits. And one of the most beneficial habits is drinking pure, healthy water. That's why I use AquaTrue, AQUATRU, AquaTrue. You got to check out this company. AquaTrue purifiers use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process. That sounds like a lot, and I'll tell you what it is. It's great because there's no installation or plumbing, and it removes 15 times more contaminants than ordinary pitch filters. I have to tell you, you got to get this remarkable countertop process. The filters are actually quite affordable and they're long lasting. You change maybe once every 6 months or 2 years. So you save a lot right away, not having to buy a lot of filters. And when you use the system, you're getting the equivalent of about 4,500 bottles of water. I mean, think about that. That comes out to less than 3 cents a bottle. Plus, you're saving the environment from all that plastic and such. And best of all, the water tastes fantastic. I love drinking water. And even more importantly, my kids and grandkids love water even more so than carbonated soda. How's that? And if you have pets like we do, our dogs love this water. So I can truly taste the difference. And I urge you, please get the AquaTrue system. Go to aquatrue.com. AQUATRU.com. AQUATRU.com. Put in the code JOY, J-O-Y at checkout. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and it makes a great gift. You're going to love it. You're going to thank me. Go to aquatrue.com, AQUATRU.com. Use the promo code JOY, and you'll thank me. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, everybody. I have some great, wonderful news for you. Everybody knows that fasting is healthy. Fasting? Healthy? That's right. However, it can be challenging. Not with Prolon. Prolon. Prolon is fasting with food. That's right. Fasting, and you get to eat food. It all starts with Prolon's 5-day program. You get snacks, soups, beverages, and it's all designed to activate your body's fasting state. It's like anything you've ever experienced. I must tell you, if I was going to start a nutrition program, Prolon is exactly what I would use. It's convenient. It's backed by Nobel-winning science, and it works. So right now, Prolon is offering the Joy of Living listeners 10% off their 5-day nutrition program. I urge everybody, go to prolonlife.com/Barry. That's PROLON life.com/Barry for this special offer. 10% off for listeners to the Joy of Living, because you like to live well, and using Prolon will help you live life well. So please go to prolonlife.com, PROLON life.com/Barry for the special offer. Do it now. You will thank me. I love it when you're healthy and happy and making a difference in the world. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day. Beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. Her name is Valerie Durham, and she is giving us insights into how wealth is truly created. And
Mm.
when you're wealthier and happier and healthier, you make the world a better place. That's what you want. You're here for the most wonderful, selfish reason in the world. That is that the ability to choose virtue and therefore become a contributor to society. So I urge everybody again, don't take notes, just listen and play it back and do something else. I want to use this as a how should we say it, a segue into the next piece, which is part and parcel of what you've been speaking about. And as you articulated so well before when we were talking, the art, because it is an art, not just a science, because you need logic as well as the heart, the art of bringing people together from disparate views and backgrounds to look and see how we can all be of benefit together in the most positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant way. And I'd like you to sprinkle in with that, talk about Freedom Fest, which is
Thank
the most, I found to be one of the most uplifting experiences that I've had in a long time. So
you.
the
Well,
art.
yeah, the art of bringing people together. And I think while it's always been an art, it is becoming trickier and trickier to bring people together in our current society. We have been flooded with a very unfortunate amount of divisiveness. And as much as we, in so many ways, are trying to find ways to be more inclusive, to lose our prejudices and things of that nature, politically, often we are becoming highly prejudicial. And it is much in our society is now keeping us apart. Social media often keeps us apart, and our lives are so busy. There's so much commuting and work intensity and demands on our time, and actually demands financially that are coming from poor economic policy that from a variety of ways we are becoming more isolated. And also, when we are together or do communicate, way too often, we are looking for the differences that keep us separated. And so, the first and most important thing to do when it comes to coming together is to realize the true co-value of every human being on this planet. That there is no one on this planet who has more inherent value than any other person who's been born on this planet. And that even people who are struggling and making poor choices, you have to have some sense of benevolent compassion that they are not in a better state personally. And you may have to make some decisions about boundarying yourself against people who just aren't in that space to be acting appropriately. But you have to at least have that benevolent compassion for all human beings that are on the planet. And once you're dealing with people who can have a similar kind of spirit, we have to work for understanding. We don't have to work for agreement. And I think that's one of the things that we have struggled with so much, is that we think everyone needs to agree. I guarantee you that there is no single person on this planet that you agree with 100%, including yourself.
Right.
Very often we don't even agree with ourselves. We're of two different minds on things. We can't make a decision. We feel one thing this way and maybe something else another day. We don't even agree with ourselves 100% of the time. So this idea that we have to agree in order to get along is a false notion. And when we lose sight of what we can learn from each other, even if it reaffirms what you already feel is true or holy or important or helpful, that's to reaffirm, that's great. But also to be open to the fact that other people feel different things for different reasons in different ways. There are so many places where you think that there's a value to something. I'm going to use an example about punctuality. So punctuality, from a Western philosophy, we use what's called monocratic time. We look at the clock, and that's how we dictate how much time has elapsed. So you and I had an appointment for a podcast. We met at the appointed time according to the clock, and we're proceeding for a certain amount of time on the clock in order to complete our interview. That is a monocratic experience of time. There are other people who value more transactional time. So you and I could have met for this interview after I was done with my last meeting, and after maybe you were done with your last meeting. And we would talk until we felt the conversation was complete. And then we would move on to making dinner for our families or going on to the next thing. It's more relational. And so maybe we wouldn't meet exactly at 2:00. Maybe it would be a little because we would wait till our last conversation was finished and give that the respect that it needed before we come to this and give this the respect that it's needed. So that's polychronic time because you're looking at different factors in relationship to time. Those are two different ways to value our time that frankly have equal value and we can learn from each other on. And too often people are dismissive of one or the other, but what can we learn from each other? So that is how I approach bringing people together. Who are the people who are willing to make the effort to understand each other and to learn from each other? And when
let's unpack a couple of things here because I'm leaning in and I'm mesmerized. And I want to begin to just reiterate how you started this process of the art of bringing people together. Where I come from, it's called art, by the way. AHT. I'm a Bostonian. It's art. Understanding rather than seeking universal agreement. And to me, that strikes in our beginning conversation, universal agreement sounds more of a top-down, dominating process rather than understanding, which even if I'll make the attempt to understand, even if I don't, I want to make that attempt to understand because the result of that is the L word as you used, learn.
Yeah.
Wow, maybe I can learn. I can learn something with somebody else. What an interesting idea.
So agreement is highly limiting. If everyone just stuck with what they agreed on, we would not have cars, we would not have computers, we would not have internet. It's because you're striving to understand, learn, question, absorb newness. If we just agree, yeah, the chariot is the only and best way to get around, and that's just what we're going to do, and then we don't have steam engines, we don't have any of those things that we feel like we need. So agreement is very limiting.
This is so powerful. This is mind expanding. So I'll tell you a quick little story. When I was growing up, there was a bumper sticker that was popular called Question Authority.
Love that bumper sticker.
And I realized that it really meant two things. The way it was usually done was, well, question authority, whatever they say, we're going to question it.
Yeah.
But then the corollary is the other side. You really want to learn something? Go to the people who have authority. We're talking the wise people. Question them. Ask them. Find wisdom.
Find the experts and ask them questions.
Yes. Oh, so it's again, it's you see the bumper sticker. Well, everybody agrees that. No, I want to understand what you're saying. What is it? And this distinction between monocratic and polycratic time, it's wonderful. So the art of bringing people together, you have worked in this field for almost a decade, I think, or more, in this remarkable process called Freedom Fest. So what is Freedom Fest? I mean, I was there, so I want other people to know, because it's really Freedom Festival. And it is a festival of freedom. And it's not that everybody agrees on the same thing. No. On the contrary.
On the contrary. So what we do at Freedom Fest, it is a annual 4-day nonpartisan conference festival where we invite everyone who cares about liberty in some capacity to come together for those 4 days and to have an interaction around liberty. So there are times when you might share, you're going to learn, you're going to meet and network with other people, but together we're going to grow liberty. And liberty, we often just have a political sense about liberty and freedom, but the truth is that liberty is a 360 experience in our lives. And political freedom is very important. We need to be talking about that and maintaining that political freedom, but financial freedom, health freedom, educational freedom, business and entrepreneurial freedom, intellectual freedom, artistic freedom, personal freedom, spiritual freedom, religious freedom. All of these things make up our choices in our lives. And so we address all of that at Freedom Fest. We invite 200 to 300 speakers on a huge variety of topics. We invite about 150 exhibitors, think tanks, nonprofits, businesses, organizations, grassroots, authors, merchants, all kinds of things, media, to come together. So when you go into that exhibit hall, it is just buzzing because you're interacting with all of these people doing work in their purpose. So not everybody's doing the same thing. People are
On the
working.
contrary, I can attest to it.
Yes. Somebody's working on 2A. Somebody is providing sustainability products for your home. Someone else just has cute little t-shirts that they're doing that have precious phrases on them that inspire other people. There's so much variety because each individual gets to decide, how do I express freedom? What do I care about freedom? What are my unique talents? It's just what we were talking about in the earlier segment. The individuality is so important. So you experience all this variety, and then you have 2,000 to 3,000 people who are just there. Again, all walks of life, students to octogenarians, billionaire CEOs, grassroots activists, mom and pop from next door. It's an incredible mix. And the conversations that happen are just so inspiring. You learn real practical solutions to bring more liberty into your life as a result of this interaction. And yes, we talk about tough issues, but here's the thing. We talk about tough issues in an open dialogue, civil discourse kind of way. We don't use political labels because as soon as you do that, you say, oh, so-and-so's a Democrat, they're a Republican, they're a conservative, they're a progressive. People think, I know what that means, and they shut off their thinking. Either they agree or they don't agree. So we don't do that. There's no red and blue. There's no left, right. It's like, what do we think about climate change? Let's have a real conversation about that and investigate different perspectives. And then let the audience, the individual attendee, learn something. Say, hey, that's in alignment with what I thought, or wow, I never thought of that before. Now I can start thinking about something new. Now I can start adjusting in different ways. So that's how we approach freedom. And we also have a lot of fun at Freedom Fest. We do karaoke, yoga in the mornings. We have parties, live music, a comedy show, because you know what? Freedom should be fun. And too often we make it so serious and dire and catastrophic and we're losing our freedoms. And it's true. We got to guard against losing our freedoms. But my goodness, life is supposed to be fun and freedom is supposed to be fun. So we do that too.
And it is. So let's unpack a couple of things here. Number one, you use the T word. Think. Oh my gosh, thinking. Yes. Wow. I'm going to make a rash statement here. I think it's true. So it's a true rash statement. Oh, no, it's a rash statement that is true. This is unique, I believe, to the United States. Again, we can have a Freedom Fest festival in Australia, and you could have it in the UK and Canada and such, and EU maybe. But even there, I think there are certain constraints that just don't exist as it does here in the United States. In other words, we are the beacon of liberty and freedom. Doesn't mean other places are not nice. We're the beacon for freedom. There are people all around the world. We have a lot, as I said, Singapore, we have a lot of listeners. Singapore at one time, when I was growing up, was a top-down dominated society. Right. Today, it's a very much more open. You still can't chew gum. Okay, that's a different story. But that's for other reasons, for societal reasons. People caring about each other. However, it is a very liberty-oriented place.
Mhm.
You could have it there. By the same token, I don't think we can have Freedom Fest in Pakistan. It doesn't lend itself. India may, China not. In other words, this process called liberty is still in its infancy. I'm saying this, Valerie. You don't have to agree. We're still in its infancy. It's only a couple of hundred years old
Mhm.
in the thought process of humankind. And I'd like you, if we could, just name a few names of some people who were recently at Freedom Fest that people would know about. One of them, you say some of the names. You know, just
Gosh.
only because people like names. But some
Yeah,
of the
they
people
do.
that were there.
This year we had a great lineup. We had Rob Schneider, who's a great comedian and been in a ton of movies with Adam Sandler, who's on SNL. We had Ice-T, who's done a lot of work on criminal justice reform and has quite an interesting story arc from being a gangster rap, rebel against ineffective policing, and now is the longest active actor on a television series of all time. He's been more than 25 years on Law and Order. We had Kennedy who used to be the MTV VJ. She was our MC, and now she's on Fox, of course, and has her own podcast. We had Sean Nelson of Lovesac, a brilliant CEO and entrepreneur. We had Steve Forbes, who is just such a proponent of American values and one of the most kind and generous people I've ever known. Really amazing person. We had Robert F. Kennedy Jr., along with basically almost all of the other independent candidates. We had Chase Oliver, Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Jill Stein, and Randall Terry, all participating.
And a guy named Spike Cohen.
It's Spike Cohen, who ran for the Libertarian Party vice presidential nomination back in 2020. He's a great, great, phenomenal person. And John Mackey, the former CEO and founder of Whole Foods, was with us. We've also in the past had people like John Cleese, William Shatner, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. We've had Greg Gutfeld, George Will, Glenn Beck, Penn Jillette.
What I wanted to show here is that it's not about agreement, as you said. It's about understanding. It's about presenting viewpoints.
Right.
It's about enabling people to think. The essence of freedom and liberty, I think, may be in the word think.
I agree. And we want people to think. And so we present different perspectives. We ask people to be open-minded and to also share what they know. We have a lot of question and answer periods at Freedom Fest because we have brilliant attendees who are also very well informed, very thoughtful, very educated, experienced people. They have so much to offer. And as you were talking about other countries and other cultures, I think that there is something unique that America has developed. We are not perfect in it. There are places where we violate our own principles of freedom or have done in the past and do so now with some of the things that we have in place. So we have work to do. We do have that spirit. And I do think that the fundamental philosophy of American freedom is very much in line with the basic universal human dignity for all humans. However, this is a space where as we go to other countries and engage with them, this is also a place for learning and understanding and valuing. I have learned so much. My fiance Ishmael, and I have learned so much from getting to know his culture and his background, new values that are different in some cases from American values, but that I can learn from. So as we move forward to spread freedom, again, we cannot come in with, you must agree with us. It's a top-down kind of thing. It's a, here's something we have, and what can we also learn from you? So that as a human family, we can take from Judaism, from Buddhism, from Catholicism, the goodness that comes together from religion. We can take from the intention. Sometimes I think we lose, why are communism and socialism so popular? There's an intention behind those things that is actually very, for the sincere, it's very noble.
Right.
Everyone to be
On that
provided.
high note, we're going again.
Never break.
We love conscious capitalism, and
Yep.
we have great sponsors. We urge you to consider using them. We wouldn't have them if we didn't think so. We don't want to interrupt Valerie again. We want to. There's another segment, so don't go away. She is wonderful. Right back after this brief message. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey, everybody. You know me, Barry Shore, and you know my story. Standing up in the morning, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. That night, being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. Talk about a change of life. I was faced with lots of issues, difficulties, paths forward, if there was to be one. And I'm here to tell you that finding advice from professional people makes all the difference, certainly in my life. And I would urge everybody to consider doing so in your life. And if you've ever had the opportunity to find someone or some two people that are really matched up with you, then you know it makes a difference. I urge you to consider using BetterHelp. BetterHelp, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill in a brief questionnaire, I've done it, to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. This is your opportunity to make a difference and become the best you possible. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/joy of living today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/joy of living. BetterHelp, HELP.com/joy of living. Best wishes. Bye now. We Americans take about 20,000 breaths every day, and we spend an average of 90% of our time indoors. Now, the indoor air that we breathe can be up to 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. That's according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Indoor air pollutants can cause respiratory systems like sneezing, congestion, scratchy throat, and even more serious health problems like lung and heart disease. So what's the solution? Is there a solution? The answer is yes. I'm here to tell you about Air Doctor, the air purifier that helps filter out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants so your lungs don't have to. This includes allergens, pollen, pet dander, dust mites, mold spores, and even bacteria and viruses. I'm going to make a confession. I use it and we love it. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you don't love it? Just send it back for a refund minus the shipping. Go to airdoctorpro.com. Use the promo code JOY, J-O-Y, and you'll receive up to $300 off air purifiers. Exclusive to my podcast listeners, you will also receive a free 3-year warranty in any unit. That's an additional $84 value. So go and get this special offer now. Go to airdoctorpro.com, 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 and use the promo code JOY, J-O-Y. You will thank me. Bye now.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. Valerie Durham discussing the art of bringing people together and the ability to have freedom. And we're going to talk about it in one of the most expressive aspects of her life, which is called dance. I will tell you, though, wonderful Valerie, I came up with a new acronym for the word art, as people say it, or art, as we say in Boston, ART. And I think it touches on one of the words that we have used, but we've talked about around it. And ART stands for Awakening Responsibility Transforms. When people take personal responsibility, that's when the transformation can come into play. So let's talk a lot about your personal life and how dance has helped transform you into this freedom-loving being. Because I think they're part and parcel. They work together.
Very much so. So yeah, I started dancing when I was young. I was 3 years old when I took my first dance class at the local YMCA, and fell in love with movement and music coming together in the human body, and studied ballet and jazz and tap and all those things until I was
You tap?
I did. I don't know if I could still tap.
Oh, I'm such a sucker for tap dancing. I think it's one of the
beautiful
greatest
art form.
Oh,
And brings together a lot of different traditions, which is really, really cool. But I discovered when I was 19 in college the work of a woman named Isadora Duncan, who is known as the mother of modern dance. She was born in California in 1877 and did the majority of her professional work from about 1900 to 1927 when she passed away. And what was beautiful about Isadora is that she looked at all of the contemporary dance of her day. Ballet, which was very pantomimic at the time. It was, especially in America, it was not a very expressive art form. There was, of course, social dancing, ballroom dancing. There was burlesque kind of, show dancing, can, things like that. But none of that had the personal artistic expression that she was looking for. And frankly, at the time, dance was really kind of, you didn't want to come home and tell mom and dad you were a dancer. That was like one step above saying I'm a lady of the street.
Right.
Like, it's not
lady of the night.
lady of the night. So she wanted to elevate dance again into a high art form. So she went back and looked at the time of the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, because they valued the arts with the 9 muses. Even the gods danced and sang and, were expressive in that way. So she looked at Greek and Renaissance art and she studied that. And in a very intentional, intelligent way, she put together a new technique and a new philosophy around dance that brought together principles of science, nature, human movement, basic human movement, skipping, running, jumping, leaping, kneeling, and a sense of everyone can and should dance. And so I found
I want to quote you again. Everyone can and should dance.
People who say they're not dancers that's like saying you shouldn't.
I don't breathe.
We are meant to move, and rhythmic joy. You don't have to do it. And this is, I had a friend who was a singer, and my friend said, well, I can't sing, so I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to take lessons. I can't sing. And so many people deny themselves the joy of art because they're not going to be professional artists. No. A billion times no. Art is about joy, creativity, expression. I don't care how bad your art. You don't have to have professional art. You don't have to sell your art. You don't have to display your art. The artistic process is a part of knowing yourself, enjoying what comes out of you. It is the most beautiful thing. Please, everyone listening to this podcast, please dance, please paint, please sing,
swim,
please sculpt, please swim. We are meant to do in any capacity, and don't deny yourself. Oh, I'm not good at that. So what? It's not about good at it. You don't need to be on stage. tap your foot, grab your little girl by the hands and swing her around while music is playing. Dance. It is for everyone. And you know what's so interesting from a freedom perspective? I was in graduate school for dance, and we were learning some Contra dances. So Contra dances are a lot like square dances. They come from a British tradition, and you'll have like 4 people in a square, and there are all kinds of intricate formations that you'll do. And you'll actually create a long column of 4s, and they'll do their interactions, and then they'll switch quartets in the column. So you're working your way up and down the columns. It's so fun, so social, so engaging. But guess what? When you're doing your Contra dance with 4, you can't do the dance without all 4 people there. It matters that 4 people are together. The group matters, but it matters that each individual is choosing to be there. You can't do it if one person isn't there. So it matters that you do it, and it matters that we do it. And that is such a beautiful example. And this is why art is also important. You learn the principles of life through doing art. You learn composition, balance, ratio, perspective by drawing and doing painting. You know, you learn rhythm, time, control, frequency elevations, like how to modulate things by doing music. You don't have to do it well.
Right? Just do it.
Just do it. If there is anyone out there who does not have an artistic practice in their life, I strongly encourage each and every one of those people as a personal gift to yourself that then will, radiate. As the more you better yourself, the more your family is better, your relationships are better, your businesses are better, your community, everything is improved when, as Gandhi said, as you are what you need to be, that light is shining out. Jesus talked about it. Buddha talked about it. The prophets talked about it. You have to elevate yourself. So find any art form. You don't have to be good at it, and do it and have fun with it. And if you don't like it at the end, throw it away, but you will learn things about yourself you cannot learn from anything else.
I love this.
That's my little lecture for today.
I love this personal gift. What a great high level experience we've been together. Wonderful, Valerie. Coming the crescendo of this personal gift. Everybody can give that. GIFT, by the way, is a wonderful acronym that stands for Godly Inspiration Facilitating Transformation. That's your gift.
That is
whatever
a gift.
it is. Everybody can do something.
Everybody.
Even if you can just move your hand and wave and to the music, and if you can do more, it is so liberating.
That's right.
True freedom and liberation, the expression of art.
And the expression of self. And that is also what freedom is all about. Freedom is about finding who you are and having the choice to share that with the world, and in the direction that your particular thoughts, talents, and perspectives lead you. And thank goodness there are so many of us, because we've become a very beautifully and interestingly specialized and complicated society. We need all of these different people with all of these different ideas. It's such a interwoven society now that we need every single category, whether you're a computer technologist, or you work in cleaning homes, or you work with energy, or you work with law, and we actually need all of these people. So thank goodness we're not all the same. Thank goodness we don't all agree. And thank goodness we have the ability to express our purpose. And that's what I think is just so miraculous about humanity, that we are these complicated, flawed beings who have so much to give.
Giving is the key. Give is a wonderful 4-letter word. I'm loath to say these words, but not. And we've come to our time together in the, and it was polychromatic, by the way.
That's right. This is the natural conclusion of our conversation.
Right. I have 3 quick questions for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Number 1, will you come back again?
I would love to.
Oh, thank you. Number 2, wonderful Valerie, you only have 80 seconds to answer this question. What is your most fervent desire?
To become the best person that I can be, the most full and complete version of myself, and yet to never experience completeness, that it's an ever evolving.
Ooh, I like that.
Really, that matters a lot to me. Learning about myself, having more and more virtues, that I embody more and more virtues of wisdom and kindness and compassion.
She just gave herself a personal gift. Thank you. Okay, number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 438,912 people around the world? Let me tell you what HUG stands for. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Of course, you're listening to The Joy of Living with humble host Barry Shore and amazing guest Valerie Durham. Just go to the show notes and listen again. Take your notes and rewind and learn because it's so energizing, right? Because we talked about the 3 fundamentals of life, as Valerie has pointed out. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. Number 2 happens. You go mad. You make a difference in the world. Number 3, uncover the power and the secrets. Everyday words and terms like WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking. Hello, listen to Valerie. Enabling all to excel. When you do that, you shift your perspective. You want to shift, just keep that F in place so the other stuff happens. And then you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. To determine your pathway and your trajectory in life. Use 4-letter words. Now, of course, the 4-letter words we use could live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant are love, life, hope, free, play, pray, gift, swim, and tell the world to F you. Remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Have fun. So you get people's attention. We tell them to F you, add the capital N, then you can discuss with them, wow, did we learn stuff today about freedom and liberty and gift and sing and dance and move? And a blessing from Valerie and Barry. And it is, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Valerie, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.